What's up, fight fans? Your boy P. Welsh here for another UFC picks, previews, and predictions. UFC 313 from T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. Pereira, Ankalaev, coming off another winning week here. I think we've had winning weeks every week this year, so let's keep that rolling. We got featherweight bout Chris Gutierrez versus John Castaneda. Gutierrez was rescheduled from the Matsumoto. He was rebooked against Font, and Castaneda was supposed to fight last week, but his guy pulled out, whatever, Andrade. So we got the matchup to start off this week, and only line I could find on it was a pretty much a pick'em. Minus 106 for Gutierrez, like minus 120 for Castaneda. I mean, very similar matchup, very similar metrics, very similar record, very similar experiences. I can see this one going split decision. For some reason, I'm just gravitated towards Chris Gutierrez here. For some reason, he just seems to like he might lose to better fighters, but he always has good performances against guys that are equal or lesser to him. And so, sometimes Castaneda has been outshined. No, it's not much, but he has had a few good wins too. Gafarov, Miles, John, but like it's like one of these things that it's back and forth, and which guy's gonna show up? With cutting weight. I don't know if they really cut weight too much, but both guys are relatively in a camp recently and going at it again. And I'm picking Chris Gutierrez. I feel like I don't know about it just. It's just I just find Castaneda has just not been as consistent. I don't know. I just like Gutierrez too. He only lost that I see him lose to what Tyra and Pedro Munoz. He has some good performances. I feel like there as well. Just fights along. Oh, he lost to Yang Senang, not Tyra. But I really think he could do it. I don't know. I mean, I think it's Chris Gutierrez. I just don't. And then saying that, it's probably John Castaneda. um, we'll see what happens. We'll see if striking's. I think it'll be. I just think it's very even matchup, and I just think Chris Gutierrez is a little bit better all around than and the win condition there for both of them. I mean, this is going to the judges' scorecard. Like, this has got split decision. What's like the bet on this to be a split decision? Like, I really feel like that's the situation here. So I just kind of like Chris Gutierrez. I think he'll just do enough to win the rounds. He'll get a sneaky, cheeky takedown or two. He has really good, I feel like, fight IQ at the end of the day too, where like he can wrestle, he can strike, he's comfortable at distance, and I think he'll go in there pretty strong. Let's move on here. A couple fights that I feel really iffy about coming up here. We got a middleweight bout here. So Jordan Santos versus Ozzy Diaz. Santos making his UFC debut, and Diaz's second fight coming down from light heavyweight where he got KO'd by a Zhang, which is, been happening. But 6'4" for Diaz a little bit, and 6 foot for Santos. But it might be one of those things where there's length versus power. I'm kind of leaning Santos here. I can't really get behind Ozzy. He just did not look good in that other fight against Zhang. And like I said, I know Zhang is probably like the best light heavyweight prospect we have right now. So that's nothing but I don't know, man. He's 34. Santos is coming up pretty strong. I don't want to go against that. I'd rather if Diaz comes in here and starches him and looks good, then all power to Diaz, man. Maybe the middleweight transition was really good. Maybe the length presents like some Johnny Walker-esque type KO potential for, everybody. But the same goes for Santos, man. If he touches Diaz on the chin, I mean, we've seen him go down in the first round. Not a lot of durability. Fights don't last long. Everyone is outside the first or second round. So if you like something like that, this fight's got blood all over it. So I don't see this fight reaching round 3. I mean, freaking none of Diaz's fights do, so it should be an entertaining one. I'm gonna go Santos here, maybe KO. I just think he's gonna get it done. I mean, Diaz has been on a nice run, but I mean, if you're gonna lose to Zhang, I feel like you're gonna lose to Santos. Moving on, we got another Santos here against Francis Marshall, featherweight bout. Francis Marshall moving down to the featherweight division at 8-2 record versus 15-1 Mario Santos, coming off, I believe, the Contender Series. The Ultimate Fighter, excuse me, won his UFC debut in the second round KO, and this should be a really good matchup here. I'm very high on Francis here. And I really think Marshall is kind of where I'm leaning towards in this fight, just kind of based on UFC experience. I know that doesn't always account for much, but man, if he can't get a win here, it's going to be looking pretty tough. I mean, he did just get a nice win against Dennis Bazooka, loss against Isaac and Gomi. Those are some really top end fighters, you know. I think he's got a class win in here. I think he's a big underdog. I think this is probably a little bit closer of an odds fight. I could be terribly wrong on this one. I said these two fights I feel the least confident to start. You know, it's really hard, you know, the new guys versus some experienced guys versus like I think I have a decent read on both of them right now because I was like Santos and Santos parlay, you know, putting them both together. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think one of them loses. I think it might be Marion. I think Francis Marshall is just a tough competitor going down. Like if you go down from lightweight to featherweight and don't get a win, you can't go down the bantamweight. You know what I mean? Like it's just like you got to get it done here, and I think it's going to be a close fight. Another one that I think could get a finish late. I can see somebody getting subbed out here in after some, Francis. That's my thing is why I think Marshall might actually be able to sneak out a win here too. Is like I think Santos can look really good for 2 rounds, and then him just get caught in the 3rd round late, and get caught with a punch, get hit his back, and get choked out. I really do think Marshall's live for the win here. I'm picking Marshall here. I'm gonna go for one upset here. I kind of see something like that happening. I think Marshall's very talented. I think he's again putting good, decent performances. I still think he's very young, and again going up against Gomes and Isaac Dogarian, stud strikers. Early in your career, under 25 years old, when you're kind of more of a got a ground game. I think it's got a great chance to win here, and that's the pick here, Francis Marshall. Boom. Moving on, got the prelims, ladies and gentlemen. Alex Morono, 24-11-0, coming off a loss against Carlos Leal, 21-6, coming off a loss, and yeah. I mean, the odds speak for themselves. This is a Leal spot. Leal looked really good against Fakhretdinov, and basically was robbed of that fight. I bet on Fakhretdinov and got extremely lucky. Morono, I like Morono. I think one thing that could happen here is Morono's sub is definitely live. He's definitely could jump a ghillie, but man, he has not had the best performances of late. I think that's basically his only win condition is to kind of Carlos Leal is freaking yoked, dude. He is freaking coming, throwing haymakers. I don't think he's gonna try and grapple. I don't know, man. I think Morono is gonna try and be real active and not get hit. And Leal, bro, he was connecting. I don't know. I mean, he won his last fight, so I mean, I really value that. I don't care what the judges say. Like, I understand why Leal is here. My man also looked yoked on the roids, allegedly. Don't come after me, bro. But, he looked fucking yoked, dude. Morono, technician, is going to come in and put in a class performance. Like, it shouldn't probably not be this big of a favorite. And realistically, Morono has been knocked out from time to time, but doesn't, for the most part, he just loses on the scorecard, right? The Ponzinibbio, I remember, and he was winning that fight, Chaos Williams. So I think realistically, one bet probably really good is Morono plus the points. As long as he doesn't get freaking popped, I can't see, and they're gonna get good odds on those two, right? Plus 3.5, as long as he doesn't get absolutely dominated, which you need him to win 1 round. You need him to look good, which he's gonna he's gonna try. I don't know. I would love to see Morono's. I would love to see how many times if he's ever been like 30-27. I really always feel like he puts in a really tough performance, split decision, unanimous decisions, but he could be losing, actually they should have it, right? I wonder. I got to look a little in deep to unanimous. I wonder if they have the scorecards here. Part-time lovers. Yeah, so let's move on here. Got a middleweight bout there. Sorry for that. No, we're going to go back here. Let's finish up strong. We got Morono and Leal here. Finish up strong here. Yeah, so I really just think Leal's going to win the moments, do a lot of damage, and then win positions. And Morono's going to try and survive. You're going to see him try. And I could see, like I said, I think Morono by submission. I could see Morono on his back, hooking him with his legs in a little triangle choke, too, as Leal's trying to, like, lock in on him. I really don't know much about Leal's ground game like that. Like, is he going to be aware if he's trying to get some ground and pound? Like, I could see Morono doing some cheeky things like that. So I definitely think, like, as a big underdog, he's going to win moments in this fight. I think he has even some live betting potential in a way because, like, boy, I know Leal cooked last fight against Fakardinov and got robbed, and he looked really good. And I expect this to be prime Leal, basically, against Morono, who sometimes is a day late and a dollar short, man. Like, he just doesn't have, so Leal all day. Boom! Moving on. Middleweight division. But Morono by sub is a potential. Going to the middleweight bout, Bruno Ferreira, 12-2, coming off a loss against Armin Petrosian, 9-4, coming off a loss. The double tap bullet from freaking what's his face, and Ferreira coming off a loss. Let's take a little bit of this pretty even metrics, even though Petrosian's way taller. And I mean, this is it was a boost. He lost to a boost. Good recovery from that great fight. Yeah, this is Ferreira all day, man. I don't know how he's a dog. Petrosian kind of like lacks in the gas tank. I mean, even like you said, getting finished in the second round, finished again. Leroy Duncan is a nice win. Like, that's what I'm saying is, like, that man wins against, but like Leroy Duncan also has put in some stinkers against some better competition. So like, yeah, lost to Barallo. I think Ferreira puts his lights out again, dude. I think it could be early. I think it could be late. I think this could be Bruno Brickfist Ferreira's spot. Yeah, he just hits so hard. I just think Petrosian is just not. I mean, he could come in and do really well, and we can all be surprised. Like, who did that last week for us? Who's the guy that last week had the fight of his life? I have to go look this up. Freaking came in there. Oh, QT Laba. 2 weeks ago. QT Laba. So, like, you always have that veteran performance potential, but I think Ferreira just absolutely throws haymakers, dude. Puts people's lights out. Like, losses to Ruzaboyev and Magomedov Abus, like, he knocked the frick out of RoboCop, knocked out, like, if, he's knocking dudes out. And I think Petrosian has potential glass chin syndrome. So, I just think he gets in there and connects. Like, I think he's gonna lose that distance. Ferreira can get in and out. He can do a lot of damage, a lot of work. Probably even shorter. The fight might even last less time than I talk about the video. This is a Bruno Ferreira spot all day. Bang! All right, going back to the little guys then. Joshua Van, flyweight, 12-2, coming off a win versus Ri Sarua, 10-0, coming off a win from Japan. It's Josh Van, bro. I mean, this is a great matchup. A very exciting flyweight fight. I just don't know how you just don't pick against Van, dude. Got the experience. Like, all this dude was road to the UFC, and then Carlos Hernandez. Josh Van has fought Noche, fought Charles Johnson, fought Durd. He's fought he fights. He just keeps fighting. So, this is Josh Van's spot all day. I think experience, I think volume, I think gas tank. Unless he's like, his last fight was 3 months ago, I don't think he's going to be too tired. He's not. I feel like you can't fight every 3 to 4 months at that high level of competition because, like, the damage and the guys are so good, right? Like, but I think Josh Van might be able to even get a finish here. This is nothing against Sarua, but it's just a Van spot, dude. He like, minus the Charles Johnson loss, my guy is honestly on a tear, and GG's, and he got caught in the third round on Johnson, who freaking finishes in the third round, bro. If you make any mistakes, he's gonna finish you. He pretty much had Temerov, but he just couldn't get the job done. Temerov toughened up, and I like that read by me because, like, if you look at that, he is just his 4-fight winning streak. It's if he doesn't catch the KO, which is not always gonna happen. You can't always catch a KO in the third round to get a win. Van, I think for 3 rounds, class performance. Gonna go try and call out Brandon Royval next. Boom. Make it happen. Go back to the big boys here. Holy smokes. Curtis Razor Blades versus Rizan Kuniev. 18-5 Blades coming off the loss to Tommy for the interim belt. And Rizan Kumarov. Holy frick, dude. What a picture they're gonna put on What a picture they're going to put on the UFC website for my man right there. Holy smokes, dude. How can you pick that guy against Curtis Blades, dude? Literally. Like, you're going to pick Curtis Blades to lose? Now, rescheduled from February a little bit later. I don't know much about that. Did I have a little description? Sometimes it's on the card. Let me go look at the February 22nd card. But I mean, seriously, what the heck? How can you? Was that a fight night? But I mean, how are you gonna pick Curtis Razor Blade? How are you gonna pick anybody against Razor Blades? You know what I mean? Bout rescheduled. Yeah, they just rescheduled the bout. I don't know. Maybe personal problem. I mean, this is Curtis Blades, dude. Curtis Blades. Next, lightweight bout here. Now, this is one where I think we can talk a little bit. We got King Bobby Green versus Mauricio Hufi. 32-16-1. Bobby King Green coming off a loss versus Hufi 11-1 coming off a win. 2 wins in the UFC representing the Fighting Nerds. This is a great one to start us off. I don't know what was going to happen here. I really think Bobby Green is live for a win here. Hufi, I think he's got to knock out Bobby Green, right? Like, he didn't get to finish against James because the guy was like 10 pounds overweight. Jamie Malarkey, he finished, and that's his thing. He's gonna either finish Bobby Green, King Green here. I'm just gonna call him Mr. Green. He's gonna finish Mr. Green at 38 years old. That's my thing about picking Bobby here. Is like, damn, I want to, but I mean. Yeah, I just think this is a hoofy spot. I really think Bobby can, if he can drag it out and weather the storm in the first round, like, he can get the job done, but like, I even think recency bias is pretty terrible for Bobby Green too, cuz like, look at his wins, dude. Tony Ferguson, Grant Dawson, Jim Miller. Grant Dawson, great win, but he caught him on the chin in 30 seconds, right? Jim Miller, great UFC 300 performance. Couple old cats, though, beat up an old man like that. Mauricio Hufi, different breed, dude. Yeah, it's Hufi. Bobby Green, 13-11 in the UFC. I just think he gets caught, man. This guy is so fit, so fast, so quick. I just think it takes 1 second for this guy to land. And the later the fight goes, the more it goes for Bobby Green. But I just have, like, my confidence in trying to actually, like, justify a pick here when my man Hufi KO rates of 10, and Bobby Green has been viciously knocked out by Jalen Turner, viciously knocked out by various other crews. What am I doing here? In the wrong button. This is Hufi. Only his last fight was the only fight to go to decision. Can Bobby even make him go to the decision? I don't know, man. The metrics are pretty strong. Like, we're going to try and see Bobby wrestle and wear him out. That might be his best strategy. I don't know have we really seen him implement that ever? He literally, the last time he did that, he got freaking his arm broke and put to sleep by Patty. So that was pretty much a pick him, and I think people are definitely. I mean, I think he's a live dog. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think if he can weather the storm, but I think if he just gets hit and goes down, he's just going to be in a bad spot, and he's just not going to be able to get up, right? Especially if Hufi's fresh. It's not late in the fight, and that's another thing is his last fight, the guy was overweight. Otherwise, he probably finishes him because he doesn't have an extra, he's not cutting, right? He's not as compromised. Boom. Let's go, Hufi. Hufi! Let's go to the women's strawweight division. Amanda Lemos, 14-4-1 versus Ismin Luciando, 17-5 in her record. And man, this one's kind of tough going back and forth. I mean, Lemos been finished by or just lost to John DeRoba, and Zhang, like, wins against Marina and Dern. I got Lemos here. I just think Luciendo is tough, but she just hasn't had the quality of competition to go up against. And I think, what did we see that the other week? I picked Homegirl. She didn't look good against Angela Hill. I think same thing here. Lemos. I just think the young fighter is gonna look really good, and you can pick the same girl. I think had the tattoo on her neck too. What's the hell, dude? Seriously, fought Angela Hill a couple weeks ago. They look very similar. Is this like the same kind of matchup? What the heck's going on? I think it's an Amanda Lemo spot. She's tough, man. She's tough. I know she lost to Yonderoba, but she's freaking gonna fight for the title next. And they're milking Yonderoba just to fight everybody. I just don't think they want to put her on a freaking poster. But yeah. Lemos probably going to decision here. I think she could get a finish. Lemos definitely, to me, I like the arm triangle. I remember her getting that. I don't know if it was a standing arm triangle, but I definitely think she's live for a finish. She's tough, man. I wouldn't want to go in against Lemos, dude. So against Isman Lucien, though, you know, she got finished by Andrade. It's gonna be, this is a good chance. It's good rebound spot. See what happens. I mean, not the highest level of confidence, that I have on all the fight cards. The women's always less on there, but I'm gonna go kind of experience and training over, once we get the job done against Lucien, though. All right, I heard this bout Jalen Turner. I don't know. I heard rumor that he might not make it. So if he doesn't, I'm still picking Bahamondes against Turner, and Bahamondes against Turner's replacement for the official video. But Jalen Turner 14-8 against Ignacio Bahamondes 16-5. Very much mirror matchup. Very much something that we seen. Feel like we saw the same thing last week. We saw freaking Barlow Patterson. Yeah, I like Bahamondes here. He's been bet up since yesterday a little bit, and I don't know if that's because of the rumor. I just think Bahamondes at even money is also really good. I just think he's one of the best freaking talented lightweights. I think he's got great, incredible flow, and I'm not saying anything bad against Jalen Turner right here. I'm a big fan of Ignacio Bahamondes. I really am. It's going to be one of the only fights that he doesn't have like a length and an advantage, but I actually think that's pretty good. He fought similarly Manuel Torres, and his timing was amazing, and I think he'll be able to find it against Turner. I really do think this is a great Bahamondes spot. Turner is one of those fighters that's like feast or famine, and he just is sometimes not as consistent. And I mean, it's hard to be consistent when you're fighting some of the best fighters in the world. Dan Hooker, Gamrot, Moicano. I think he'll be able to stand up. Again, the same thing. Like if you take out recency bias, and he had the big finish against Bobby Green, but that's a match made in heaven for him. Recently he hasn't looked that good against good fighters, and I think Bahamondes is one of those good fighters. This could be an ascension spot for him. And I'm very, very high on the Bahamondes train, dude. I love saying his name. I think he could be fighting for a 5-round main event soon. I call out a lot of people in the lightweight division who aren't booked. That actually might be a show. I might be able to do like a matchup show, like new matchups that are like when they're announced and stuff like that, and talk about it then. That might be something to integrate into the UFC channel as well. We'll figure out what we can do for that. But yeah, I like Bahamondes. I like what could be, what his potential could be, and I really enjoy the matchup here that they gave us. I think this card is sublime. We have at Vegas, American card. I think this might be one of the best cards of the year. I think we're kind of sleeping on it to start, but with the level of fighters that's open up the card and fight throughout the night, it's going to be a treat to watch. So I think the last few fights we're going to break down here, you're going to see some absolute talent that you've seen on cards sporadically to put them all together. Like, I mean, these are UFC, Noche, and 300 contestants right here. The UFC thinks highly of both of these gentlemen. So do I. And I just think Turner's a little bit just not... I just don't know if he's as clean as Bahamondes. I really think Bahamondes has... Just feels like when he steps in the octagon, he's leveling up every time. Can't say the same thing about Turner. So, let's go, baby. Co-main event here. Justin, the highlight reel Gaethje, lightweight division, 26-5, coming off the loss to Max Holloway. It's Rafael Fiziev, 12-3, coming off the loss to Gamer Gamrot in the injury. First return to the octagon against a former loss opponent. And boy, man, I don't know what's going to happen here. Like, how do you pick against Justin Gaethje? But man, he looks a little bit... dude, and how do you go for Fiziev? How is he a favorite against Gaethje? Personally, I put Gaethje in my parlay, so I'm likely going to pick Fiziev here just to cover myself in terms of happiness and hedging. Just as a forewarning there, I'm probably picking Fiziev just because I feel like he's going to be a little bit cleaner, sharper. The fight was pretty close. I think he definitely lost the first one, clearly, especially in the third round, just getting dominated like that. Boy, he hasn't fought in over a year, man. How good is he going to look? My thing is, Fiziev is a one-hit KO potential, right? I, I'm worried about Gaethje. I really am. The times you think he's gonna look really good, he tends not to. The times you're counting him out, he's like, "Oh, okay." You're like, "Yeah, Gaethje on the rematch, he looked so good the first time. Boom, that's without a KO, and in 2 years." And my guy Fiziev's just coming in there hungry as hell. 36. I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried. He's only ever been finished by elite fighters, and is this going to be the elite fighter train of Fiziev coronation? Man, it's tough, dude. It's tough. Hooker, I liked him against. Fiziev, I don't. It's one of those things that's like the matchups. Justin Gaethje against Rafael Fiziev. Again, ladies and gentlemen, what a co-main event. I think Fiziev here, man. I think the 5 rounds, right? This is it is only a 3-rounder. Bummer, dude. I can't believe the UFC doesn't implement co-main events not being 5 rounds, because this absolutely needs to be a 5-rounder. Boy, that's a little bit of a bummer. I don't know. I don't know. I'm picking Fiziev. I'm just picking. I'm picking to look stupid. I'm picking to look stupid. Right, Fiziev. Let's go. I think he can just turn it on, and by the time Gaethje needs it, he just won't have it. Just start a little slow. I don't know. I don't know, man. This one's really tough. Wow, what a dude. These two mad. I don't know what I feel kind of good about some of the fights, and going at this point, I don't feel good because like I want to pick Gaethje here because I think he'll be able to outclass some like veteran underdog contender. But I mean, Fiziev, dude, he just looks like, dude, if he can just stand up in there and just hit Gaethje one time, he can just get him in a bad spot and finish. I just feel like sometimes when these guys go down at the end of their career, I don't want to be picking Izzy again, you know. Like, I can see Gaethje kind of going on a little bit of an Izzy. Like, you got mad respect. You could do whatever you want. But, like, man, dude, there's killers out there. You got to, you just get hit once and job done. So I think that's what we kind of see here. I got Fiziev getting ahead of the curve. You know, it's one of those. Let's pick him up, put him down. Boom! Light heavyweight title bout. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time! 5 rounds for the undisputed light heavyweight title champion of the world, Alex Poatan Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. What an insane matchup. 12-2 Pereira against Ankalaev, 21-1 with no contest. Draw against Blachowicz for his shot at the title. Got Pereira, only lost to Izzy at middleweight, holding the title on a train since. Man, oh man, Ankalaev fasting for Ramadan, coming in here against Pereira, the perennial champion, knockout streak, just untouchability at light heavyweight. I think this is one that's frick, man. I don't know. Poetan's my favorite fighter. Like I've championed him since he put Strickland's lights out. You know, I was like, this guy's it. He's the truth. He's the scariest guy in the division, scariest guy in the UFC. And how am I ever gonna pick against him? I don't think I have picked against him recently. Since I started doing the picks, and I don't want to pick against him here, but I really don't want him to lose. The fact that he went on pledging 200K from Ankalaev, if he loses, he's only human, that scares the shit out of me, bro. I hate these champions, like, foreshadowing that they're going to lose, that they're old. And that being said, like, dude, the Volk being old against Topuria, I should have put more money on Topuria when I saw that. I should have read it, and instead of seeing only did a little bit, I should have done a lot of it. I'm kind of thinking that's what happens here. I kind of think we have our hearts and guts gutted from us in real lifetime, and we see Mama. I think we see Ankalaev knock out Pereira. I think it's slightly early stoppage. I just think if Roundtree can hit him with something awkward, I think Ankalaev can hit him with something awkward and a little bit more powerful. Could happen in 2, 3, 4. I just think if Poatan gets real confident and he just gets counterpunched, that's his, against somebody that's just 1-2 lights out. That's what we're gonna see, man. That's his win condition. I think Ankalaev can be really hungry for that situation, and you can bait it the whole time too, right? You can wait and wait for the adjustment to be made and then counter the adjustment. There's levels to this game, and I don't know if Ankalaev has it. And this is me speaking him up and into existence, and basically trying to like reverse psychology Pereira victory, because I do think Pereira could basically be one of the best fighters of all time with a win here. That's what scares the frick out of me, is like when these guys get to these coronation spots and then like I hear just a little chink in the armor. It's just like I don't want to hear nothing like that, because there's a little chink in the armor. All it takes is one shot for a knockout blow. Like I mean, that's what I thought about with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl against the Eagles and their offensive line. They move their guard to the tackle, a little bit of chink in the armor, and it's just not the same. Not the same, not the same, not the same. Official pick is Ankalaev. Not happy. Not don't feel really good about it. Not even super confident about it, but it's again one of those things that's kind of just hedging on my happiness. And when I really don't know that, and I do think it's a very much a pick 'em. And and we can break down the fight a little bit longer here. I kind of want to spend 5 minutes. I think Pereira leg kicks are the absolute one of the maybe you can go down as the greatest weapon in UFC history if he defends his title here again. If he gets another ruby on the belt with the leg kicks that Ankalaev take, like you watch Blachowicz, like you watch Ankalaev sit down there. If Poatan can hit the leg kick with a combo, my man can put the lights out too. Like don't get me wrong, like I honestly think the best bet here would be the fight to end by KO. I know one of the homies has freaking Pereira by guillotine to feed families, which I could definitely kind of see too in a way. But and I'm excited to see this fight. I think this actually is probably the card of the year in my opinion. I think Poatan cards are he's gonna be that guy, right? Like ended above Izzy in terms of popularity to a certain extent. Because he not only did he dethrone him, his also quality of performances over time has potential to just respect all MMA fans. And like my buddy always says, we all have that fighter instinct in us. We all resonate with that, especially somebody to pull them from their bootstraps like Pereira. And if he continue to go on a run like this, I mean, he's extremely talented. He's got incredible flow state. Another worry about Poatan is the last war against Roundtree. He did have adequate time, but I think he stared the death nail in the face. He fought a guy that the guys are not as chinked as they were moving to get the ladder. The guys that are coming in there are strong, and it's a war against warriors, and he is one too. There's only so many of those that you can win as a warrior until Father Time catches us all. I mean. So I worry if that's going to be tonight. I hope not, but I'm just going to little bit I have to maybe prevent that and protect that. If it does, that I can benefit from it a little way. Because all it takes is one shot, man. The fight game is ruthless. The fight game is brutal. If you don't think my guy Ankalaev can counterpunch 3 times in a row and put Pereira out, he freaking two punched Johnny Walker out, and the Blachowicz fight is that's the one time he's been to 5 rounds, and there was a draw. The fight was a draw. It was a close fight. He couldn't handle the kicks, but that was 2-3 years ago now. I just think he's better. I just think he's better than that. I think he missed this opportunity again. If he has to wrestle, I think he'll wrestle. If he doesn't get knocked out, how can you say Poatan's gonna knock this man out? Like he only ever Paul Craig triangle choked. Does Poatan get that cheeky submission maybe at one point? But like that was at literally the end of the 3rd round. Bro, Ankalaev doing it. I hate doing it. I'm gonna cry doing it. I mean, just like as some like hedging and just not even hedging, just capping in a way, predicting, previewing. Like seriously, how I mean, let's see it, boys. This is gonna be a banger. I'm gonna do a quick recap here, but I'm gonna pick Ankalaev. I'm gonna cry, but Poetan. Let's go, Poetan! Come on, man. Like, this is why I feel weird doing these sometimes, because like I'm a fan some ways, but like sometimes the picks are just like sometimes I gotta pick the picks to be the picks. We can't go against it. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna move on. Starting in the featherweight division, we're going Chris Gutierrez, Jorgen Santos, Francis Marshall. We're going to go Carlos Leal, Bruno Ferreira, Joshua Van, and Curtis Blades, Mauricio Hufi, Amanda Lemos, Ignacio Bahamundes, Rafael Fiziev, and Mohamed Ankalaev. Thank you guys so much. Pick your picks in the comments. Every single fight, pick them 100% correct. I'll give you $100. Like, comment, subscribe if you made it this far in the video. I mean, we're pretty close on a lot of picks. Another winning week. We hope to keep it going here. I feel like those two fights at the beginning and the 2 fights at the end, I feel the most questionable about. A lot of fights I like in between. A lot, and I'm happy to bring these videos to you. Let's keep it on. I'm trying to get like maybe a matchup show going. I'm trying to percolate something in my head to like, get some other videos out there that are not just picks and previews where I can just talk about it, get something out and say bada bing, bada boom. But thank you guys so much for supporting, watching, liking, subscribing, and commenting. Take care of yourselves, your friends, your family, and your health. Peace and love, everybody.